Hello, hello. Chuck, good to see your face again.
Morning.
All right. We are all sort of crawling in
That's
right
right. Yeah,
now,
let's see.
one by one.
I keep admitting people.
You are all
You
admitted,
want to turn the volume off?
Oh, I was
especially
wondering who was having trouble hearing it.
Is my
uh,
volume low?
Chuck. Yeah, Chuck, you have your headphones on but not
Sorry.
connected. I love that. That's amazing.
I'm,
And Alethea, you're the one that sent the question for today. So we're just going to all stare at you and focus on you the entire
Right.
time. Yeah. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. We're recording. There's only one question. Hey, there's Kevin. Uh, there's only one question, and so we're going to take other questions from the group as needed.
All right.
All
Can
right,
you see
welcome
the
to the Ask the Wizards, and then we're going to update you guys on some of the class stuff that's going, and then we're going to keep it a short meeting, and then send in more questions if you want longer meetings. So, Dave, what do we got? There we go.
from
You
Alethea?
know what, Alethea, we should just make you read your own email. Ah, the irony. I'm, listen, I'm a writer who always strives to be creative. So sometimes off the walls to grab attention for the businesses I write for. I love using jingles when I feel it fits. Yes. And wait, hey, quit moving shit. I'm
Oh, I'm
trying to
sorry.
read. If not, I try to come up with concepts and ideas that are seen as unconventional to stand out after it. I think I'm good at writing one-off ideas, but where I struggle is writing something that has legs, like how some TV shows score a home run with the pilot or first season, but over time lose what made them iconic and successful in the first place. Any tips or things to keep in mind to stay on track while crafting a long-term branding strategy? 100%. I love this question. It is the absolute focus of the 1 year marketing strategy class that's happening in like 2, 3 weeks. And it has entirely to do with Dave, if you want to shrink that so I can see, we don't need the display of it anymore. There we go. Now I can see Alethea better. Um, I mean, Dave has chomping at the bit to answer this question too, I'm certain. But it's the only way that you can write a consistent thing instead of feel like you have to start from scratch with a new, weird, clever idea every time you sit down is if you have an understanding of the identity of what you're writing about, and then you let it follow the story. As you follow your crazy ideas, you add that crazy idea to the story of the brand, right? You figure out how to wrap that into the story of the brand. So it just becomes another character attribute. If you remember, man, there's a lot of this group is old enough to remember Friends, but not all of us. Did you ever watch that old sitcom Friends, Lydia? So you remember in the beginning, the first year was meh. And then they figured out that Joey was actually a joke and not like the hot chick dude, right? And then they
There's a
figured
little more
out,
than that, yeah.
yeah, and then they figured out that Ross loved dinosaurs, and then but all of these random little discoveries that might have been a funny anecdote for one sitcom episode became a part of their character identity. Does that make sense? And then the next time they just elaborated on it and pulled it into a new, and every once in a while introduced a whole new character identity. So I'm gonna first it requires real work that your owner will never see, which is you trying to sit down and understand the actual, like you're writing a sitcom, what is the character of this brand? Who are they? And that's the character diamond class, which you have free access to. Were you in that class online?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
And the
So
recording is
that's
on the website, so you
yeah,
can
if you want a
rewatch
refresher,
it.
go back and watch it. But that's
Hmm.
build the character diamonds for your brand. Even if you can't do it with them directly, do your best version of it without them. And then anytime you do a crazy new off the wall thing, figure out why it fits into the character diamond and how it develops the storyline of this character. I'm going to give you a really fast example and then I'm going to let Dave answer. We have been doing this with one of our clients, and I'm sure he'd be fine with me talking about it, but it's Chris Plunkett. He's in Tucson, Arizona. We sat down and we came up with this whole plan, and the identity was Plunkett is the new brand name, and Plunkett is also a verb for how he repairs things. So there's your first example of what you would do. You're off the wall, a little bit different, kind of funny and zany. And so the first ad was him saying, I've been plunking it for 15 years. I've been plunking it since I was 8 years old. And it's a weird, everyone's like, what have you been doing for 18 years? And yeah, plunking it. And repairing air conditioning. And he's like, oh, okay. And so we sort of followed that along the lines. And as we developed that, I wrote the first ad where his wife Scarlett is responding to him, going like, "Ooh, Chris, I don't know if you can say that on the radio," or like, maybe you should use a different word than plunket. And he's like, "Nah, I'm using plunket because it's way more fun." And so it was this sort of funny back and forth. And I did that originally just because it was kind of amusing, right? And it helped humanize them. But I realized as I finished that ad that it actually created a dynamic that we're now going to elaborate on, which is Chris is this dreamer who always just thinks everything is fun and amazing, and he's coming up with zany ideas, and his wife fully supports him and loves him, but is also trying to be like, hey, we are in the real world too, though. We still need to make money. But she's not bringing him down and she's not shaming him. She's just like, I love you so much for who you are, but also can we make sure we can pay the bills too, please? Does that make sense? And that dynamic is really easy. And then Dave came up with a zany idea when we were designing the truck wraps. And that zany, oh, and Robin was the one who designed them, who just joined us. Uh, Dave's crazy idea was let's put race car numbers on the side of the trucks, like full on NASCAR giant numbers. And the reason is because it makes them go faster. Everybody knows that, right?
Is
And
science.
anybody who doesn't understand that doesn't understand science. Right? But it fits because that's the kind of crazy idea thing that Chris Plunkett would believe, right? Like, so now I'm able to write an ad where his wife Scarlett says, Chris, people have been asking why there's race car numbers on sides of her truck. And he can go, because it makes them go faster. And then she can go, I don't know if that's how that works. And then he's like, of course it is. Haven't you seen NASCAR? All of their cars have giant numbers on them. And then and I've already written this one, and her reply is like, yeah, but is that really what's making them go fast? And he's like, look, maybe it's not, or maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But in a Tucson summer when your AC goes out of business, is that a risk you want to take?
Uh-huh.
And so there's this now it's become a part of the character. We've wrapped it in. So it was a zany idea to make it a race car thing. And then I had to work to make it fit into the character of who Chris Plunkett and Scarlett's relationship with each other. Does that make sense, Alethea?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you can do that, then as you build that character, your new zany ideas will not be coming from out of nowhere. They'll be spawning from the storyline that you're writing, right? So now we found out that they have a giant trailer that's bigger than their trucks,
That
and
they
it
haul
makes it
equipment
the
in if they need
billboard,
it.
right? So Dave's zany next idea, which spawns directly from our path that we're taking, was let's just on the graphic on the side, Robin, let's put racing support team on the bottom
They'll
for
have their
no
logo.
reason. And the logo, Plunkett, and then racing support team on the trailer. And we're not gonna explain it for a long time. It's just gonna be on the trailer for no reason
And they're not involved in racing at all.
at all. Yeah, they have no connection to racing. No one in the family races. It's just this inside joke that we're gonna have pay off at some point.
Not yet,
But you
anyway.
see, yeah, not
But
yet anyway. He might-
they've already had a customer jokingly tell them, you guys should wear one of those like driver suits when you crawl under a house to work on something.
yeah,
Or where's your helmet?
like one of the F1 crew pit
You know.
outfits. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
So-
there you go, Dave.
Well, I would add that the litmus test for me is always when you come up with one of your off the wall ideas, see how many related off the wall ideas you can come up with. Because if it's just a one trick pony, it's not a campaign. It's just a joke. But if you can say, okay, well, yeah, and then in another ad we could do this, and then in another one we could do that, and so now you've got a storyline that can continue, or at least the bones of the zany idea that can live past one ad. So you
Mhm.
always have to be thinking in terms of a campaign instead of just an ad. And that's really really the simple way of doing that is just to get some people gathered around and say, look, I've come up with this zany ad. Okay, keeping this theme, how many ads could we think of that we could just write the ideas down right now? And if you can come up with a dozen and people are still going, you've got a campaign,
Yeah.
right? So
And
it's
then by the time you get to the end of the year and the last radio ads, the list anybody who's been listening feels like they were along for this whole unrolling journey where you knew the ending before you even started.
and the beautiful thing is that those things lead to spin-offs, right? Just like a TV show. So
Mhm.
there may become some zany ad that's like, oh, that was so good, we need to continue down that arm of the story. But
Yeah.
that's it's like the difference, you can tell a knock knock joke and other people can tell knock knock jokes till pretty soon we're out of knock knock jokes, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
No, we're never out of knock knock jokes.
Well, there comes a
I'm just
moment,
kidding.
right? There comes a moment where it's like you're just grasping, and
Hmm.
you want to be able to continue the story. So don't. That's the danger of humor in ads is if the humor is just a joke. If it's
Yeah.
just a joke, it's tough to do a follow on. But if it's humor built around character and story, especially lovability,
Yeah.
um, you've got
Well,
legs for a campaign.
yeah, for example, right now all the Chris ads, Chris is sort of this silly dreamer who gets shit done. But like halfway through, when we get into fall, and now they've heard, 10 ads with this combo, I can, if I want to, finally have Chris come on and say something serious.
Hmm.
And it's going to be 1,000 times more powerful because they know Chris is this humorous, fun-loving adventurer. And then he's like, you know what, guys, I'm just gonna be honest here for a second on this one thing, and bam, it's gonna land so big. But it will matter because it was part of the character.
Mm.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Does that feel like it just gave you options, or does it feel like it's just more shit to figure out?
Well, I think it's just a reminder of stuff that like I went over with you guys about the character diamonds, and it's
Yeah,
like I'm kind of compartmentalizing, so it's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
this is great, and it's like, oh, how am I applying this now? So it's
yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at.
absolutely. If it
Yeah.
helps, I've been at the academy for 13 years. I've been teaching for 10 of those years. And I realized this morning I hadn't applied two of the most fundamental things we teach to my business, my own personal business. And I was like, what? And what are you doing, Daniel? Like you literally talk about this once a month on the Ask the Wizards, and you didn't even bother to do the basic fundamentals for your own brand. And I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I really compartmentalized that too.
the cobbler's kids with no shoes.
That's right. That's how it
Yeah.
works. Yeah, you should see all of the graphics that Robin does for her family. They're crap. I'm just kidding. Does anybody have any questions they want to improv throw into the mix before we do a quick wrap up and call it a morning? And three, and two,
Oh, I've got
and
one.
Kevin.
So this some business owners who maybe were immigrants have accents.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't mean so thick that you can't understand them, but
Right.
significant accents. In some of those businesses, like I have one fellow from India. Well, his business is an Indian restaurant, kind of a natural fit.
Yeah.
In some cases, though, it might be somebody who's a plumber and it's not really ethnically
Mhm.
related. But do you have any experience in using your business owner as the voice in their commercials with accents? And if so, do you play into it? Do you like? How do you handle that? And there's sensitivities and all kinds of things. But
Yeah. In my experience, like Scarlett on our Plunkett campaign, she has a very strong accent. We're just not going to, I'm not ever going to acknowledge it because what it does is it's an accent that's very common to uh, Hispanic in Tucson specifically. And so all it does for us is it marks her as a local. right? So I don't even have to acknowledge it. It's just when she starts talking, they're like, "Oh, that's someone from Tucson." But I don't know. Dave, have you ever had one
Well,
where you actually
I
leaned
would say
into
like
it?
don't be afraid of using him in an ad if he's of Indian descent and has an Indian accent that perfectly fits.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the leaning into it was my real question. Like, do you ever acknowledge it, or do you just let it be in the background?
what would be, I mean, because if you have somebody in the station imitate him, now you've crossed into weird territory. Don't
Yeah.
ever do that.
My instinct is use them, never question using them, but I would never directly acknowledge it.
I mean, the charming thing would be to have him trying to have a Canadian accent,
That
right?
would be funny, yeah. I'm trying to fit in with you
I'm
guys,
trying to
eh?
fit in, and we've
Yeah, that could be funny.
just pick some words that are kind of have a particular Canadian twist to them, and I think that would be fun. Um,
I did have somebody who was doing a campaign in Australia where they had an American Texan accent trying to use like shrimp on the Barbie word and it was really funny. So maybe.
yeah.
Chuck, did you have a question?
No, not a question, just a
Okay.
quick comment. I had a jeweler
Ah,
I
okay.
worked with a number of years ago, who had a real thick Turkish accent, and he wanted to be in his ads, and you couldn't understand him. And so our tagline was, "You need to see Abraham." And so I had him record several times, and we pieced together the cleanest version of uh, "I'm Abraham, come see me."
Mhm.
And that was his involvement in every single ad. That was the tail end before the announcer threw the address and the name of the jeweler and the address on it. That made him happy, and it made it understandable as well.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
done my
I'll do that.
favorite, if it was TV, I would have let him be completely understandable and put subtitles up. And because I've seen that done really funny and really brilliantly, where it's like it was. I think the last one I saw
Yeah.
was two Scottish people doing an ad in Scotland, and they had subtitles, even though the ad aired in Scotland. And it was everyone around them not understanding them at
And
all.
and then they break the fourth wall and say, "Are you putting subtitles?
Yeah. What is this? What is
What
this?
what are you
I'm
doing?
perfectly understandable.
I'm
Yeah.
speaking English."
Kevin, is that helpful?
Yeah, it is. With the Indian restaurant guy, we actually put a token white guy in the ad with him. It was the angle we took, and then they'll say things like, um, the white guy will say goat curry, and then the Indian guy in his accent will go, "Hey, a billion Indians can't be wrong," just
I
there's some things like that,
Oh,
and
I
love
it's
like
I
that.
love that.
and it's been great for the restaurant. It's worked really, really well. And so I'm just wondering, about the other sort of trades or other business
No,
categories where it's not.
I
I would just do it and it becomes a part of the unexpected remarkable.
Yeah, and it's authentic.
Mhm.
It's not somebody at the station doing his accent. That will never work, but being authentic always will work.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. Dave, if you want to accent the two things that are coming up, and then we will call it.
Sure. This was a class that we just came up with. Roy's been doing these unstructured adventures, and they're fun. But I got to thinking about like what if I could attend a class 30 years ago, what would I want it to be? And it would be this one, The Old Man in the Woods, Life Lessons for Young Entrepreneurs. It's on our website. If you know any young business owners that like this is advice for a long career. So that's coming up May 26th and 27th. And then Daniel, you talked Brian Brushwood into doing this one.
I did legitimately talk him into it.
You probably have a better feel for what this is going to be. Do
I
your weird
actually
thing.
don't. So
No.
here's how this came about. I was like, Brush was like, I really want to do a class again at Wizard Academy. And I was like, I want to know what your favorite thing to teach is right now. And he's like, oh man. we did this event on my campus for my community, and it was called Do Your Weird Thing. And me and all my friends got up and talked about how we managed to accomplish a highly successful, like #1 bestseller and #1 TV show, #1 book, #1 YouTube channel, multiple #1 podcast, off some harebrained idea that we thought no one else would be interested in but us, and somehow we made it work. And we had so much fun in that group because it was just a room full of people being like, "You're telling me my crazy idea might actually be possible?" And he's like, "Can we do that at Wizard Academy?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll attend that. Actually, that'd be
Yeah.
great." So that's literally all I know about it. Is it's a room full of people who have successfully pulled off #1s in almost every current category: book, music, TV, YouTube, Instagram and social media, podcasting, and all going like, "Here's how we did it." And it was really sounds really fun.
All right. That's all I got.
Great. Well, guys, send in more questions and we will do this again. Happy one couple of weeks before St. Pat's Day to all of you who celebrate.
Why wouldn't you?
And we will see you guys in April.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.